What's up guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you the 30-day checklist for starting a lead generation business because a lot of people come into our Skool group and they get a little confused. What do I do? What should I do next? Where should I start? How do I do it? And I say, go to the classroom, it's all there. But I thought I'd simplify it for you guys on YouTube because there are a lot of moving parts to starting a lead generation business. In a lot of ways, it's a very simple model, and in some ways it's complex because everything's easy when you read it on paper, but when you actually go and try and execute it, there's obviously nuances that come into place. And that's why we started Leadbase Pro. The link's in the description, where you can get on 3 weekly group calls with myself and my business partner and get answers to your questions as you go through this 30-day checklist and start to build your business. So join that for $99 a month, and you can cancel anytime. No pressure though, guys. I'm not forcing you to do anything because that's not what I do. Okay. So without further ado, I like saying that for some reason. Without further ado, let's jump on the computer and we'll take a look at this 30-day checklist. Okay, 30-day lead gen business checklist. We're going to talk about exactly what you need to do for these first 30 days. And the first 30 days of starting a lead gen business is a bit of a sprint. So we want to get as much done as possible because it's also a bit of hurry up and wait. We're going to be setting up our brand, picking a niche, start to do client outreach, and then start to hopefully generate leads for our client. And a lot of these things, we'll put a bunch of work into it, and then we kind of wait and hope that some clients get back to us. We kind of wait and we hope that we start generating leads. A lot of different ways that could look, but let's go over the basics of starting this lead gen business and how to get your first client in that first 30 days, which is what we guarantee in the Leadbase Pro School, by the way. If you don't get your first client in the first 30 days, you get your money back. So week 1, this is a very important week. It's picking a profitable niche. And this is going to determine what your next 90 to 120 days look like. We want to be committing to a niche that we pick and actually focusing on it. We don't want to be doing 4 different niches. You can actually start by listing 3 to 5 potential niches where maybe you have some expertise, maybe you have some connections, maybe you're in the mortgage space or the life insurance space, maybe you're in home services or you've worked for one of these businesses before, or you have some friends in the business where you understand some nuances of the niche. So it's important that you pick a niche that you're interested in. And I think it's good to list 3 to 5 potential niches and kind of figure out the pros and cons. And if you want to message me on Skool, I'm happy to kind of work through some of those niches with you and let you know about some of the nuances that there are. Your options are a national type niche, like a financial niche like life insurance, or a more local niche like, say, home services. There's definitely pros and cons to each of those. When you're working locally with home services, it's going to take you a longer time to scale. It can be harder working with mom and pop shops, but in every home service and in every niche, really, there's probably some big franchises or big lead aggregators that you could work up to work with. So for that reason, I don't think there's actually necessarily any bad niches. One quick anecdote is, for example, we have a guy who's trying to do some dental stuff in Leadbase Pro, and he's struggling because talking with dentists is very difficult. So think about the client that you're going to potentially work with. How annoying are they going to be? How, doctors and dentists, turns out they kind of, sorry if you're a dentist or doctor watching this, but some of you apparently, according to this guy, tend to be know-it-alls or, offended very easily or whatever. So I've heard this with lawyers too. No offense to lawyers. Can be harder to work with, but that could be the same issue if you're working with like a local roofer and he's the only guy closing the leads. He might not know how to work them that effectively. So you have to consider all these things. There's no perfect niche. There's no niche that might, couldn't work necessarily unless the deal size is too small. And I tend to look for a deal size of at least like 1,500. You need enough potential margin there to be able to sell the leads. Kind of the smallest side of that would be final expense or life insurance. That's going to be a pretty small deal size or at least commission size for the salesperson. But because it's a financial niche, they don't really have any overhead. They don't have cost of goods sold. So they're going to be making a large profit off that, $800 commission they make on a final expense deal. You can make that work. On the higher end, you've got personal injury can be tens of thousands of dollars. Roofing can be tens of thousands of dollars. So it's important to consider this when you're picking a niche. It's also important to research lead value and competition. So taking a look at the market. I don't always worry too much about competition because there's always going to be competition in any niche, but most of the time the competition sucks. So you could be better than them. You can actually outperform the competition because a lot of people don't know what they're doing. And that's why we created Leadbase Pro, so we can help you guys actually understand how to be, in the top 1% of lead generators, because, the good thing is it's not actually that hard. There's a lot of people that just throw up a template and throw up like a very simple ad and think it's just going to work. Building a lead gen business isn't just throwing up a template and praying that you're going to get the best lead ever. It takes work. And if you put the work in, if you commit to a niche for, 90 days, That's where you start to understand the nuances of the niche, become an expert, and generate very high quality leads that your clients are going to want to buy. As I said, commit to one niche. You want to define your ideal client profile. So figure out who makes the buying decisions. Most of the time, this is going to be, if you're using Apollo, which I'll talk about in a sec, to find these clients, you're going to want to be targeting managers and CEOs and any kind of VP or kind of executive position who could make a decision and purchase leads. So this is going to depend, on the niche you're picking, but when you go into Apollo or you're going on LinkedIn Sales Navigator and trying to find these types of companies, I tend to pick companies that have at least 10 employees up to several thousand employees. I just don't want, one-man shows, mom and pop shops necessarily, but they can be great to start and learn with. And I've had some mom and pop shops that have become big clients and have kind of grown with them. So again, there's no perfect answer here, but pick a niche that you're interested in, commit to it, commit to becoming an expert in that niche. So week 2 is going to be building your brand foundation. You can kind of do this in week 1 if you've got time. It depends on, you work in a full-time job. Is this this is what you're committing to? It just depends on how much time you have, but kind of setup you want to have is you've picked a niche now and we need to build your brand. So we're going to build out your Google Workspace. You're going to want a professional email. So for example, insuranceian.ca is one of our brands. I'd have Ryan at insuranceian.ca, hello at, and a couple other emails. I'd want to build a one-page brand site with a clear value proposition. You build your one-page brand site. You could do this on Unbounce. If you already have Go High Level, you could just build on a Go High Level. This one-page brand site is really your legitimacy page. It's going to be actually consumer facing. It's going to say, we help people get life insurance in Canada, or we help people find the best insurance policy for their situation. It's going to be consumer facing, but you're going to show this to the potential lead buyers and say, here's my website. Here's how we generate leads. We have a very professional website, as you can see, and we send people through this website, or, we send people through funnels built off this website to generate our leads. And so we help educate people and help them find the best policy for their situation. Again, I'm using insurance as an example. You actually would not add a CTA on this site. You'd have that on a separate landing page. Although you could have a CTA on a partner with us page on your site or something like that. But most of your inbound demo requests and stuff like that are going to be through cold email and LinkedIn. You're going to want to put tracking pixels on for Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn if you want, but probably just Google and Facebook. Yeah, like I said, when creating a site, don't overthink this. Set it up, using, we have some free templates. We have some templates in Pro as well, where you just want to keep it clean and easy to use. The first thing I recommend signing up for is Unbounce. When you sign up for Leadbase Pro, Unbounce is the best landing page builder. You can even build your website on it. You don't need Go High Level, honestly. And if you want to use WordPress, if you have experience at WordPress, you can use that. But just using Unbounce and using a simple template is more than enough, guys. Week 3. And again, you can do this in week 1 if you want. Launching your cold outreach campaign. So you're going to want to build your prospect database with Apollo. You're going to compile 1,000 to 3,000 verified contacts in your niche. Apollo is great. There's definitely some niches that it's not as great for, so you might have to get creative. Maybe you have to use a Google Map scraper. Maybe you have to use something else. It's crazy. Actually, ChatGPT now, and I did another video on this, if you just say, give me the top 50 roofing companies or insurance brokers in California, it can actually build you a verified list. I haven't actually tested the legitimacy of the emails it provides, but that's a cool way. If you don't want to pay for extra softwares like Instantly, which is a cold email software, you don't want to pay for LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is free for the first month, then you can use ChatGPT and do manual outreach and grind it out and bootstrap it yourself if you want to do that. You're going to want to warm up your system. So this is something you would want to do week 1, is if you're going to use Instantly or Smart Lead or something like that for your automatic cold emailing, you're going to want to warm that up by purchasing a few different domains and a few different inboxes and putting them into Instantly, and it's going to actually warm them up by sending emails through those inboxes to other users of Instantly or Smart Lead, and warming up the emails to make sure Google or I'm too dumb to know exactly how this works, but it helps the interweb know that your email is safe and legit because it's got a good deliverability score. If you don't do this, your emails will be burned very quickly and they will not have a good deliverability score. Okay, so you're going to want to warm those up. Set up your LinkedIn campaign. So we have some new training on this we just released, but essentially you're going to want to set up your LinkedIn profile, make it look professional. Your kind of main spiel on LinkedIn is going to say, I help, X niche. I help life insurance agents close, 10 to 20 more deals per month with high quality lead generation services, whatever. Some sort of spiel there. You're going to let people know who you are when they go to your profile, and you kind of make a professional profile there. You're also going to want to write 3 email templates, an intro, a follow-up, and maybe a case study or a final follow-up, and track these all, even if it's just through internally in Instantly or through, Sales Navigator on LinkedIn, or you have a Google Sheet for this. You're going to want to track all this. I like to have a very simple intro that's just like, hey, my name's Ryan. I own insurancescene.ca. We're generating more leads than we can handle right now. Are you interested in partnering with us? Are you interested in taking a few extra leads per month? Keep it very open-ended, spark people's intrigue and get them to just get on a call, and then you can pitch them on your leads. And I guess in terms of the offer here, I should speak about that. The offer that we have is we have leads that we're generating every day. We can sell you real-time exclusive leads. We're not going to sell them to anybody else. Our minimum order, usually 50 leads. When you're starting out and you have no social proof or anything, which I don't ever use social proof, by the way. I don't have testimonials because my clients don't want everyone to know who they are, and nor do I want to share that. So I just go based off my confidence and go based off the website, and I know how to talk the talk. They know when someone talks to me, they know that I know how to sell leads. So this is going to come in time. You're going to gain this confidence, and that's why it's good to go have a good sales pipeline and go through these sales calls. Don't be scared. Worst case, they say no. Okay, so go get sales calls and chat with people. But essentially, we'll say, we'll sell you 50 leads for $100 per lead. That's our minimum order. We replace any bad leads. They're exclusive. They're sent to you in real time during whatever hours you prefer. And we can kind of give you the types of leads that you prefer if you have some specific criteria or something like that. Again, let's say this is for life insurance. And so you can sell less leads than that. You can sell 10 leads in the first order. That's about as little as I would kind of go. 25 is more like an actual proper sample size, because when you're starting out, your close rate is probably going to be lower than you think. It might even be 4 or 5%. But if you send someone 20 leads and they even close one lead, if they close one of those 20, they're probably going to be interested enough to keep going. And you're going to assure them that, hey, you know what, this first order, it might not be perfect, but I'm going to over deliver on this order. So maybe you're going to send them 25 to 27 leads or something like that, assuming you're not burning cash. If you're making profit on the first order, just break even. Just give them as many leads as it takes to make them super stoked and know that you're a legit homie. And then you're going to learn as much as possible. You're going to get feedback from them. And if they close one lead, you'll say to them, okay, that was a good lead. We're going to get you more of those types of leads. I've seen what happened here. I know where I can improve things here. And that's going to kind of reassure them that you are working to make this better over time. Okay, so in your first week, you're going to send 300 initial emails, 100 LinkedIn messages, and you're going to expect a 2 to 5% response rate. There's no reason, if you think about, you build your prospect database properly, you're not just like typing into Apollo the first word and then downloading 1,000 of them. Like, actually go through and think about your prospect list and make sure they're legitimate prospects, and they're actually, go to the 10th page of your Apollo search and make sure they're still actually in insurance or in mortgage or whatever you're doing. There's no reason if you send these first messages, you shouldn't get several positive replies and book your first sales call, okay? But you actually have to do it and execute on it. I've had guys in Leadbase Pro who sent 100 outreaches, only 100, but they got a 20% response rate because they curated the perfect, like the most accurate list they possibly could. They used SendSpark, which is a personalized Loom AI software. So it basically sends a personalized Loom to every single person on the list, and they got just crazy response rates because it was curated. So you could send 1,000 to 3,000 emails to the wrong list and have a very, very bland outreach system and get very little response, or you could send 100 very, curated, specific emails to a list. And that's what I've tended to do. I've gotten all my biggest clients from sending very, very, targeted outreaches to LinkedIn and cold email. So you could even start by finding your top 50 kind of dream clients and just sending them you could send something like, hey, I've got too many leads to handle right now, and would you like to partner? Or you could say like, hey, I know you're one of the biggest companies in the space. To be honest, I'm looking to partner with somebody like you guys at company name because I want to grow quickly in this space, and we've already got too many leads to handle. Kind of maybe send them sort of like a personalized message, or that could be your follow-up message even. But I've got my best clients doing that. Week 4, deliver results and scale. Easier said than done, isn't it? It's not that hard. It's okay, guys. You're going to do this. There's going to be ups and downs. You're going to get fired. You're going to generate crappy leads. You're going to have issues with quality, and you just have to go through those things to learn how this works. Do not give up at that point, because listen, if you're going to start a lead gen business and then your first client's like, these leads suck, and then you're like, well, this doesn't work, then just don't ever start it. Okay. It's going to take time. It took me 6 to 8 months to really get off the ground with my first big client. It took me 4 or 5 clients firing me and, lead quality issues and all these things to get off the ground with my first lead generation brand, okay? And now I do this a lot quicker because I understand the nuances of it. And that's why, again, if you join Leadbase Pro, we can help you skip a lot of that pain and anguish, but it's going to take trial and error. And that's what every business has. So don't give up too fast, okay? Deliver results and scale. You're going to book your first sales calls. You're going to hopefully close your first deal and launch your first lead campaign. And that's when you're going to prove the return on investment and scale. So it's very important when you launch your first campaign that you have a good feedback loop with the client. I tend to start on a Google Sheet and just get them to make comments on every single lead. I tell them this feedback is crucial. And the agreement that they have with me is they agree to give me at least a weekly report so I can improve things for them, or this isn't going to work. And I kind of put the onus on them. Like, I need your feedback for this to work. That's what you owe me every single week. Then you can take a look at ROI after your first deal is completed. Let's say you sell 50 leads. Upon the 40th lead or so, I'd be getting on a call and chatting about how the first order went, hopefully upping them on a second order. And again, if you don't know how the model works, I'm selling 50 leads for $100. That's $5,000. I'm delivering those leads over time. Let's say over 10 days, I'm delivering those 50 leads, 5 leads per day. And I'm making hopefully a profit on those leads. So if I sell them for 100 and I get them for 50, I'm making $50 profit on those leads. And I'm trying to get feedback from the client and then get them to place another order where they pay me up front and I have another $5,000 to work with. And hopefully I make another $2,500 in profit. Again, I'm not trying to make profit on the first order. Success metric: aim to generate leads worth 3-5x your service fee within the first campaign to ensure client retention referrals. Yeah, fair enough. AI did some of this for me. We do have a calculator for this. I've linked it in other videos, how to price your leads. So I like to work backwards. So if a client is making, let's say a roofer is making 10 grand off a roof, but they're profiting 3,000, I'd want them to, if I'm selling leads for 100 and they close 1 in 10 of those leads, that means they paid $1,000 to make $3,300. That's a 3-to-1 ROI. That's pretty solid. I'd say 3-to-1 ROI. You could get, even 2-to-1 ROI on the profit side of things. That's probably going to keep a client coming back. If they can put $1 in and make $2 or $3, they're probably going to come back. So think about that when you're pricing leads. Again, what's my client making? What's their profit? And then how many leads of mine do they need to close for that to be a good equation for them? Okay. I'll actually link in the description of this video our lead pricing tool. Okay, guys. Your 30-day transformation. So you've defined a profitable niche. You've got a brand website live. You've got your outreach system running. Don't stop the outreach system after you've gotten your first sales calls. Keep it going. Fill your pipeline. Get those reps. That's very important. You're going to have your first client and you're going to start to have delivered an order, or you've delivered that first order. And then lastly, I just want to make sure you know your numbers. So on that first client, what happened? Did they have, a lot of times, terrible contact rates when you're starting out? Did they have terrible contact rates? Or the contact rates good, but the leads weren't exactly what they were looking for, or they weren't motivated, or maybe the client doesn't know what they're doing and they've never worked digital leads before. And they're like, these leads aren't good, but they've only worked referrals and they have no idea how to close digital leads. You're going to learn these things throughout that first order. So it's important that you have clear metrics and you know that with client 1, what was the issue? Or maybe you crushed it and they're excited. That happens too. So have a clear idea of the potential problems or the potential wins that you could have off that. Again, how was the contact rate? What was the close rate? What was the ROI that they made? What was the feedback on the leads? How many leads did you have to replace, or how many bad leads did you have? Should you consider using OTP on this first order, on the next order, like text verification? And I didn't really get into the testing or testing out your lead funnels in this quick video here, but I have lots of videos on how we actually test with lead forms, and then we move to a more comprehensive funnel. We start to use one-time passwords. We start to use unbounce with leadcapture.io to generate these much higher quality leads, okay? Using something called the Evergreen Funnel System that we've created that's kind of a multi-step system to generate the highest quality lead. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing, if you take away from this video, is you want to generate the highest quality leads in the space. There's tons of people using meta lead forms. There's tons of people using kind of like lame-o quizzes and targeting and stuff like that. You want to be willing to pay more for the best quality lead, because your client is going to realize very quickly if you have high quality leads. And even if you're not making much profit, if you can get a happy client that's breaking even with you, you're going to be able to charge them more because they're going to want your leads. If you can generate high quality leads that close, that's it. You're good to go. You're not going to have any more problems. If you can come to me and say, yeah, I got my first client and they're happy with leads, I can't get another client. I'm going to help you get another client. If you got good leads that people want, man, you're sitting on a gold mine, because that's the hardest part. Generating quality leads is the hardest part. And that's why you have to commit to this for, 90 days. So you understand what a quality lead actually is. Okay, guys? Whew, that was a good rant. So if you're ready to scale, again, you guys can join Leadbase Pro. We've got over 260 members in there now. Learning about lead gen. We have 3 weekly calls. We have all the templates that you need to build your lead generation business in 30 days or less. We've got a course. We've got client outreach systems. We just released a bunch of new LinkedIn training and client acquisition training. It's all there, guys. We even have some new pros who are going to be joining the group that I'm very excited about, who are going to do some other training as well. So we've got multiple experts in there. And for $99, guys, it should be 10K like everybody else, 10K, and you get this special group, but that's not what I'm about. So you can join for $99. And if you freaking hate it, dude, I'll give you your money back. If you can't get a client in the first 45 days, I'll give you your money back. I think it said 30 days. Technically, our guarantee is 45 days. But guys, if you join and you don't get a client in the first 45 days, you're like, this sucks, freaking message me, I'll give you your money back. Seriously. Okay, it's $99. I'm on one right now, guys. Hope you enjoyed the videos. I'll see you in the next one, and appreciate you guys watching. Hope to see you in Leadbase Pro. Thanks, everybody.